Hi guys, and welcome back to another tech video. Recently, we had a trip for 3 weeks in the USA. So that means 3 weeks of using public Wi-Fi or hotel internet and being very conscious about using public Wi-Fi. And well, what I do is use a travel router when I travel. So previously I was using the GL.iNet, the Slate. This is a very small router, as you can see, but this one is discontinued now, and this one is also a little bit slow compared to the to today's standard. That's not specifically a problem, but I wanted something faster. Now, what I did before going to the trip is I ordered this one. This is the GL.iNet Barrel AX, and it's a little bit heavier compared to the Slate, but it's also faster. Now, I want to make clear that I bought these routers with my own money. This is not a sponsored video, so all the conclusions and the opinions about these products in the video are completely and totally mine. Let's get into it. And here we are. This is the web interface, the admin interface of the router for this GL.iNet Barrel AX, of course. This is the model number, as you can see here on the screen. And the reason why I use a travel router, because of course you are able to join your iPhone or your iPad to the hotel Wi-Fi or the public Wi-Fi and enable a VPN. That's of course the preferred way if you join your device directly to those public networks. But then I also travel with a few devices who cannot deal with a captive portal. Usually, when you join a public network, you will be redirected to a captive portal where you need to enter either an account or give some kind of authentication or authorization that you're okay to use that public network, that public Wi-Fi. And a few of those devices, they cannot, which I travel with at least, they cannot join a Wi-Fi network with a captive portal. That's one thing. And another thing is if I would join every time if I would use a hotel Wi-Fi, I would have to configure all my devices to join that specific hotel Wi-Fi. And I have a few devices. Um, that means I have to go through that process on every device. So both issues I have, the one is joining a Wi-Fi network with a captive portal, and the other one is joining every device to that public Wi-Fi. Well, I mitigate that by using my travel router because all my devices are already joined to my travel router. When I turn it on, the only thing I need to configure from my travel router is connected to that public Wi-Fi or that hotel Wi-Fi. And this router in particular, it can deal with that captive portal, which will appear if you join a hotel Wi-Fi, for instance, where you have to enter your name and your room number, for example. This router can deal with it. That's one of the things, that's one of the major things actually, which why I choose this router. It can deal with captive portals, and also it can be set up using a repeater mode for using Wi-Fi. So it can leverage the Wi-Fi interface it has to connect to the hotel Wi-Fi on one end, and on the other end, still broadcast that private Wi-Fi network to which all your devices are connected. And this is the admin interface you're presented with. Very easy to connect to the public Wi-Fi or that hotel Wi-Fi, of course. And one of the most important things I'm considering when choosing a travel router is VPN, right? So as you can see here, the router has VPN client mode, but also server. The server mode I'm not using, but I'm using the client mode because I'm using it to connect back to trusted VPN networks. Those are the networks I know that will handle my traffic securely. Mainly, those are my home networks, which are configured here. I have set up OpenVPN and WireGuard. Using a VPN tunnel, this is especially where that faster, that beefier CPU in the router is handy, comes back. Being able to process that traffic, that encryption and decryption of traffic very fast is very important. Especially if you're in a hotel and you're trying to watch Netflix, there is a lot of data which is being generated by that stream. Now, when your VPN tunnel is enabled, you are make sure that the router can handle it. So if you set up VPN, and you want to connect to that public Wi-Fi, it will present you with a captive portal. The portal will not appear if you have this option enabled. So if you let me move the window real quick, let's go here with the window so you can see what I'm talking about. Now, if you click on global options in this interface, you will see that you have a few things, few options you can configure. Block non-VPN traffic. This is of course very tempting to enable it because all the traffic which is not being handled within the VPN tunnel will be blocked by the router. That means your captive portal will also be blocked. Disable this for the first time when you want to connect to your devices, or when you want to connect the router to that public internet, that public Wi-Fi, that hotel Wi-Fi. Make sure that you disable it. If you enable it, at least when you have successfully connected, you have entered the details in that captive portal, um, you can enable this and everything will be fine. Of course, the captive portal or your session, when you're staying in a hotel or you're using the public Wi-Fi, usually those sessions they expire after a few hours or after a few days. So that means that again you will have to go through that captive portal, which will be presented to you. If you have this option enabled, again, that captive portal will not be visible. The router will basically not reroute you to that captive portal. So make sure that you disable this option. Of course, allow access to WAN. We will not use that. This is something you will have to set up if you're using the VPN server or services which are living behind the router. This is not something in the scope of this video. And another one is what I do always is make sure that all the services which are being used by the router itself, they have to enter the internet through the VPN tunnel. Now, another interesting setting you will have to consider is if you go back to network, click on DNS. What I've done is I am telling all my clients that the IP address of the router is the DNS server. So with this option enabled, if there are services or applications on your iPad, your iPhone, which are trying to access the internet using another DNS server, well, this will make sure that every DNS request is redirected through the router. This is something very important from a privacy and security perspective. This is the setting I enable. If you enable the top option, the DNS rebinding attack protection, you can see this here. Turning this option on may cause private DNS lookups failure. If your network has a captive portal, please disable this option. Again, if you enable this option and your captive portal is not showing up, disable this option, reboot the router, then your captive portal will show up, because then if you enable this option, resolving for local DNS will not happen, and then that means usually that you cannot access that captive portal. So this is also one option you need to consider. You need to be aware of that it can affect the way you connect to the public Wi-Fi, that hotel Wi-Fi, and get access to that portal. So in my experience, basically, those are the options you have to be aware of. You have to consider, make sure that the global option for the VPN, that you have that option disabled, which will block all traffic which is not going in the VPN tunnel, and also that DNS rebind attack, because otherwise you won't be able to access the captive portal, which is always there when you're, well, basically always there when you're trying to connect to a public Wi-Fi, a hotel Wi-Fi. Those are the two options. And otherwise, this router performed flawlessly during my 3 weeks in the US. The only thing I'm doing is going to the hotel, setting this router up, connecting to captive portal, and then all my devices have internet. Streaming is working fine. The performance of the router is more than enough to have a stream going for high definition video if you're trying to watch a streaming service. And I had basically no other issue with the router besides the options I just mentioned in this video you have to consider. As always, thank you for watching. Click on the like and subscribe button below if you like the video. Leave comments in the comment section. I will try to get to them as soon as possible. And see you soon. Take care. Bye.